I want to talk about the interview between Kim Dotcom and Tucker Carlson, which I watched last week, because it's pretty interesting. But the main reason I want to talk about it is one, Kim Dotcom, his story is fascinating. But two, there is a relevance to the citizenship and residency by investment industry. Because what Kim achieved was protection for himself and his family by diversifying his residencies and citizenships. But first off, Kim is a fascinating guy. One, he is super smart. He knows exactly what he's doing. And I remember him back 25 years ago. I mean, I remember the early 2000s, he was doing the Gumball car rallies. And now at the time, I had a pretty nice Mercedes. I had this beautiful SL55 AMG, a beautiful car. I thought this car was amazing. But what Kim had was just incredible. I mean, he had about 5 different Mercedes. And his cars were like, I didn't even know you could make them. They were like custom-made Brabus, high performance. They were one-off cars. And he went off, and not only was he called an internet hacker or a pioneer or investor, but he generally was a very good racer as well. And he won the Gumball car rally, I believe. But he was famous. I mean, he was a big fat guy. I mean, you could see him and hear him a mile away. And he liked to party. He was like the guy everybody knew and wanted to be with, but he was smart with it. He didn't party for the sake of it. You know, he partied because he liked to network. And when he spoke, people listened. And, you know, like I say, we knew him at the time through the car rallies. And, you know, he was a big character. I mean, God, when he sat in his car, you knew he was driving because the car did this. It was that big. But he went off and he became most famous for Mega Upload. Now, Mega Upload, if you don't know, was at the time the world's largest file sharing website. It was huge. I mean, at one point, it was taking up, I think, 4 or 5% of the entire world's web traffic was going through Kim's company. I mean, that's how big Mega Upload was. And Mega Upload was basically a file sharing platform. It was like cloud storage, similar to Google Drive today. But Kim was the pioneer. He was the first to really do it and show people that you could hold documents in the cloud. And I mean, I used it when I was traveling. It was a great way. I could just upload all my data to Mega Upload because, you know, my laptop at the time couldn't hold it. And this was before YouTube, before Google, before Facebook. I mean, the iPhone hadn't been invented by then. So data was a big thing. And Kim got it early on. But Kim became way too powerful. So this is sadly what happened in the early days of the internet. Certain people like Kim, highly respected, clever guys, came up with stuff, invented what was the tech we now see today to an extent, and got way too big and way too powerful. And one, Kim made an absolute fortune. He made a lot of money, and he provided a good service. But the American government did not like what he was doing, and it caught up with him. And they, I believe, charged him with copyright infringement. They took the view that, Kim, you own the world's largest file sharing website. People use that website to share movies online. They haven't paid to watch a movie because people are sharing it amongst their friends. Therefore, we're going to throw the book at you and try and put you in prison, probably for life, because the numbers were so big. Reality is, they didn't like him having so much power, and I think he donated to people like Julian Assange and stuff, which probably didn't help his case. But what Kim did, he put a structure in place. Now, it's fairly obvious Kim was doing business all over the world. I think he was linked to Germany, he was linked to Hong Kong, he had obviously links to England, links to America. But so he was operating globally. And to do that, he put structures in place. Now, we'll never know truly what his structures are. Kim's too clever for that. And I can tell you now, when we have clients who buy a second or third passport, they don't put it on social media. They don't say, hey, look, I bought a passport in Dominica. These are usually quiet investments, and I suspect that's what Kim did. So Kim for sure had a European passport, I think 2. He probably had a German and a Finn passport. I think he was dual nationality. So he had 2 passports to start with. He probably, without doubt, would have had a third passport. He probably bought one from the Caribbean or acquired a passport. He had enough money, but he could have easily acquired a third passport. And he used residencies. Now, I believe he, like a lot of international players, was quite sensible. He lived in one country, had his money in other countries. I think he lived in Europe, his money was in Hong Kong, and probably dotted about all over the place. Now, that alone is a smart move. If you can, hold your money in a different country to where you reside. It's a lot safer that way. But when the Americans went for him, he obviously knew he was looking at a lengthy prison time, and he didn't want that. So he went to New Zealand. He managed to move his family quite quickly to New Zealand. And I guess he did that via his passports, like the Americans maybe tracking one of his passports. He could have probably done it on another passport. I don't know. Give me some root here. Nobody will really know how he moved. But what he did do, he chose New Zealand. And there's probably a pretty good reason he did that. Because you see, New Zealand's extradition law is quite clear. They have an extradition pact with the USA. I'm not a lawyer, I don't follow the law on this, but I generally think I understand how it works. That if the Americans say, this guy committed a crime in America, he's in New Zealand, we want to extradite him to America, the New Zealand government says, well, yes, you can, but it has to be a crime in New Zealand as well. And New Zealand does not consider copyright a crime. You see, what's a crime in one country isn't in another country. And when we're talking crime, we're not talking about going to a bank and stealing money. We're talking about copyright infringement. We're talking about sharing movies online. And yes, I'm sure there was a lot more to mega upload than that than I know there was. But the principle is Kim was charged with copyright infringement. That is not a crime in New Zealand. And that is why I think they have spent 15 years and they have not been able to extradite Kim to the United States. Kim also really sadly had a stroke. And you'll see this if you watch him on Tucker. You know, he is recovering from a stroke, and I really wish him the best. I'd like to have huge respect for Kim, and I'm really pleased he's in a country where he's looked after and his family looking after him. It'd be awful if he had to go and spend the rest of his life in American prison because he once owned an incredibly powerful website. And Kim obviously had quite a journey in New Zealand I'm not that familiar with. I believe he entered politics, etc., etc. And he's a well-known guy in New Zealand. And he has set himself up in New Zealand, I guess probably as a resident. I don't know if he's a citizen there, but he clearly has a permanent residency. But I've rambled on a little bit, but my point is this. Kim set up an international structure. So when the US government went for him, as he probably suspected, for copyright infringement, because he was just such a big player and they wanted to control him, he had a plan in place. He knew exactly what to do. He had his family, his money safe, and he did that with multiple citizenships, residencies, and some good, solid structures. And you can do the same. So if anybody is working, certainly working internationally, you should always have a structure in place. The world is a lot smaller now than it was in the early 2000s with the invention of smartphones, internet, etc. Modern banking, modern transactions is much, much easier now to spread yourself globally, and you should. And if you would like information on how to do that, well, my name is Joseph Voll. I head Frederick Capital. I advise high net wealth individuals of how to diversify their assets internationally using residencies and second passports. That's what I do. And me and the team are always happy to advise and consult clients. So if you'd like any information on how this could apply to you, well, drop us a message. You can send us a message via DM. The link is in the bio. Or email. You can visit us at website frederick-capital.com, and we will be very happy to help.